They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry! With 0.6 of a second remaining.
Yo, what's up, everybody? This is the Outlet Pass Podcast, episode 10. A milestone, if you ask me. I am your resident JT McConnell, the homie's homie. More importantly, my real name, Justin DiVirgilio. On the line with me, my great friend up in Boston, Dante Parentozzi. Tell me how you're feeling tonight, Dante.
10, baby. Double digits. Let's get it.
In honor of the great Mo Cheeks. We're on episode 10. Oh, my God. I never thought we'd see the day. Now, if we did this every week, it'd be at 20. But
yeah, that's crazy. 20.
We're at the halfway point of 20, and the NBA season is almost at its halfway point. But before we get into All-Star talk, I need to speak about New York Knicks center Enes Kanter. Excuse me. Wow. Shouldn't have really ate before I started recording. But, oh well. Enes Kanter, center of the New York Knicks. He is from Turkey. He's been in the league since 2011. If you guys are sports fans, basketball fans, and are informed, you remember that he committed to Kentucky back in the day, then revoked his commitment, never played there, and then somehow got in the draft without playing a year in college because he sat out that year. So then he was eligible to get in the draft. He's been in the league for a while now. Now landed with the Knicks. And a bizarre story that I posted on the Instagram is that he is wanted in his homeland of Turkey because he is accused, and an international arrest warrant has been put on Enes Kanter because he is accused of a membership in a terrorist organization. He's been vocal about his dislike of Turkish President Erdogan. I'm not going to try and say the first name. I don't want to butcher it, and I don't want him mad at me and accusing me of anything of that degree. And the reason, and he was let out. He was not allowed in this year's London games, where the Knicks played the Washington Wizards. You have any thoughts on that, Don?
Well, it was more that it was unsafe for him to go, correct? Not that he wasn't allowed. It was a decision that he made. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, he made the decision, but
yeah, it wasn't wise.
I added that up into my head. Unsafe, I interpreted it as he isn't allowed to go because he could die out there. That was almost a direct quote. He said he could get killed.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the type of world we still do live in. Unfortunately, it's not. Thank God, it's not in the United States, but it is in other parts. People in power still do behave that way, and before the podcast started, we were talking about salaries, and we realized that Enes Kanter made $18.6 million a year. I think that might have to play a part in it somehow. Maybe Turkish President wants to get his hand on some of the moolah.
Possibly, but that could be an underlying reason. But I did some homework, and Enes Kanter has had a history, about a year or so history feud. So it's kind of like here in the States, if LeBron was continuously feuding with Donald Trump on Twitter, as Enes Kanter has with President Erdogan. Now, he didn't want to go to London to play games, and the reason, apparently, this is all legend, and I'm just reading the facts that I've known because I'm not a big political guy. I don't know if you are, Don. I don't know if you're
a little informed, just a little bit.
But I would say you're even less informed with geopolitics.
Yeah, I know less about the world, but I'm still up to date on how cuckoo, unfortunately, some of that area is.
Okay, so now Kanter is a follower of a gentleman named Gulen, a Turkish Islamic cleric dissident and former Erdogan ally who's been living in the Poconos here in our lovely state of Pennsylvania for 20 years. The Turkish government considers Gulen a terrorist, blaming him for organizing and funding a bloody 2016 coup attempt that left 251 people dead. Since 2016, tens of thousands of Gulen's followers and those educated in the schools have been arrested in a series of coordinated raids in Turkey, stemming from allegations from Turkish authorities that they were supporters of terrorism. The post-coup purges are still ongoing, and more than 70,000 people have been arrested this year.
70,000? Wow.
Well, thus far, not this year. So now you can see why that Enes Kanter named Erdogan Hitler of his home country after reading those stats.
Yeah.
And also, Enes Kanter's father has been incriminated in being accused of being in a terrorist organization because simply based off the fact, and this is some old school tyrannic shit or tyranny, whatever the correct term was I'm supposed to be using there, is that if his mom, dad, sister, best friend, whoever's in contact with him ever sends a text, they can tap that phone and accuse his family of being in that terroristic organization.
So claim like collusion or something. It's crazy.
Or aiding and abetting, whatever the crime would be. So
that's what it is. Yeah,
it's terrible.
Collusion, I'm nuts.
Imagine being in a country, being in a land you're not from, and you're eating off the fruits of your own labor in this land. What are you doing over there? Drinking something?
I had a sip of water. My throat was a little dry. Sorry, I was loud on the mic.
That's all right.
I'm disrespectful. I was disrespectful.
No, it's okay. I mean, it's whatever. But imagine living in a home in a land you're not from, but benefiting from it, but you can't talk to your family. And the reason Enes Kanter said he goes to see Gulen is that he is from Turkey and it feels like home. Another thing, another reason before you comment on this, Gulen, he was accused of the 2016 incident, but Enes Kanter said he and Gulen watched it unfold on TV in Gulen's Pocono home. So as of right now, I guess if we're taking sides, I'm on Enes Kanter's side because I haven't seen any type of response from President Erdogan besides, I guess his response is sending a warrant out for his arrest. Mm-hmm. But this is some serious shit.
Yeah, it's crazy that something like this is still happening. That's all I can really say about it. That won't change anytime soon unless that president gets thrown out. That's the next time he'll be able to really go home is once that happens.
Yeah, I don't know how long the presidency term is over there. And it's just really, really bizarre. Like, I posted on the Outlet Pass Podcast Instagram, at the Outlet Pass Podcast, shameless plug, that in other NBA news, he was wanted for an arrest. Because generally, you don't see big-time athletes, especially in season in the NBA, be wanted for a crime, especially as serious as this one. The last time you saw it was Zach Randolph a couple years ago, when everybody said he's Zach Chapo, maybe. that's a bad joke. And then
he was. What did he get caught? Out in his car, or like he had so much in it?
And Cali, a bunch of weed.
He was moving, yeah.
And then I guess the last one I can remember is the Gilbert Arenas incident in the locker room.
Oh yeah, he was nuts. That was a nuts move. There was no need for that. He was getting buckets, making tons of money.
Well, he lost a bet, I guess, with one of his teammates. Something like that. That I don't remember the entire story. I just remember Agent Zero being suspended. Great nickname.
Oh yeah.
He had a run.
Oh, he got buckets.
I'm pretty sure he has or had a show on Complex.
Yeah, him and that little thought.
Mia Khalifa.
Yeah, that's her name.
That's her name.
My bad.
I mean, her profession, people have called her worse, Don. For sure.
What's up?
People have called her worse for sure.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely facts. I'm trying to think. I was just trying to paint a picture, but I don't need to paint one. So it's horrible of me.
No, just do your Googles on that.
Yeah, no, don't do that. Don't do that. I don't want to take the blame. All right, let's
do your Googles on private mode.
Yeah.
And since we're talking about that young lady and where that business is majority filmed, let's bring it into LA, as there's trouble in good old Tinseltown, also known as LA, as I said. LeBron James, Rajon Rondo, Lonzo Ball all hurt. Before I get to talking about LeBron and when he'll be back, or Rondo, did you see how bad Lonzo twisted his ankle?
I did not see it.
Oof, you don't want that. Was honestly, we seen some couple bad injuries this year or scares. That was a bad ankle twist. I would say it's in. I know we ranked terrible injuries earlier in the podcast before. I would say it's in the top 10 this year.
Oof,
it's a bad twist. He's supposed to be out like 4 to 6 weeks.
That's a good bit of time.
That's a nice little grip.
Yeah, they better get some players back, or they ain't gonna win no games with that one game behind.
Yeah, they're one game out in the playoff spot as of today, January 22nd. We're recording on a Tuesday because of other engagements that Dante has to deal with, which is fine. So we're gonna be predicting somewhat of the future if we talk about certain teams, even more than we already have. Now, Rajon Rondo is apparently, according to Coach Luke Walton, who he's older than, which I always think is funny.
Classic. Young Luke.
Young Luke. Expected to return on Thursday if he stays on schedule. That game's against the Timberwolves on TNT.
That'll be good for them.
Yeah, he's missed the last 14 games.
Because he can help. He can help guide you to a win. I'm not saying he'll be the winning factor in the game. Like, he ain't gonna get the buckets as we know, but he can help make everybody better. And obviously, Braun won't be back, so he should be able to beat Timberwolves. They're just very mediocre.
Yeah, they are a mediocre team, and I wonder if in the Lakers, any of the players' minds, that they're going to be even playing harder because it was the first. I don't know if you remember this. It feels like forever ago because the NBA season, so much happens, especially with social media. It's easy to get wrapped up on each day and just keep going. That was the first breakout Derrick Rose game of the season? I believe.
Is that when he got all? Is that when he put up the points?
He put up like 31, and he made like the most threes in his career.
Oh, that's right.
In that game, he was just pulling up. And then you have LeBron James, who is not being rushed, according to Coach Luke Walton, because if the Lakers want to make any type of playoff push, they're going to need the King healthy, well, and ready to hop off the throne to carry the team through April and May.
Yeah, the problem is they're out of the playoffs right now. There's been a few game stretch where you're just like, all right, you got to kind of get back in the loop here because the 7th or 8th seed in the West ain't going to do you any good in the first round, my buddy. That's not how it works, So if he thinks he's going to be playing in those summer months, then there's only one way to do it, and that's not to get 7th or 8th. They will not win if they're the 7th or the 8th seed. I don't care who LeBron is anymore. It doesn't work like that. Not in the West.
Yeah, I would have to agree. And it doesn't help that Lonzo was really coming into his own this season. As much as everybody likes to hate, but it's really hard to hate him now because guess what, guys? LeVar Ball hasn't said a word in about 4 months from what I've seen. Hasn't popped up on my social medias. So there's nothing to hate about Lonzo Ball besides his ugly shot. But he was producing
besides the ugly shot
a lot better in his past 3 games. He was averaging about 16, 17 points.
Yeah.
It's an improvement.
That's good. Yeah.
You can't say he's not playing well. He said
it's a shame he's hurt now.
I believe it was Brandon Ingram. Somebody commented that you could see he's playing better. I think it was Luke Walton actually. You could see he's playing better. He noted that he actually hasn't had an off season to be acclimated and improve his game because last off season he was out with a knee injury.
He had the injury,
and then he said defensively he's become a lot better on ball. He's picking up at 94 feet, which is awesome. Like what else could you ask for?
Yeah, he runs. He can run,
and he likes to get out and push the pace. I'm glad that the hate for him has died down because it was indirected.
Yeah,
it was directed at the wrong person.
It should go to Brandon Ingram if it goes to anybody. But that's a whole different story. I ain't going to get into all that today. But I want to bring up something. I want to bring up something to you. Today I saw that Zach Lowe put a little disrespect on the Kings' name and did not put him in the starting five representing the West. How do you feel about that? The team was Kevin Durant, Paul George, Anthony Davis, Steph, and James Harden with LeBron as a reserve. How do you feel?
Well, there's two parts of me. So I let me tell you, I understand where he's coming from because I can see where he's getting at that. There's two options why he put Paul George in LeBron's place. Because he either wants to be the contrarian in the room and doesn't want to see LeBron in yet another All-Star game starting. And his first as a member of the Western Conference. Or he's tacking LeBron's missed games. It's about almost a little more than 2 weeks worth. So you can have a legitimate
forever.
claim.
Oh.
Yeah, it feels forever without the king. But you can have a legitimate claim with that right there. And the way Paul George is playing. LeBron's obviously always in the MVP conversation. But this is the first time Paul George has been even mentioned in the same breath as league MVP.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see it. I don't think it's going to happen at all. Because 50% of it's fan voting, 25% is coaches, and the other 25% is players. So I think he's going to be starting, no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, he's picking he's the captain. You know what he'll do? He'll figure it out. I mean, come on. Let's not be foolish here. But he's still the king. But I'll give it to Paul George. He did give us buckets this past weekend against the Sixers. But we'll get into that later.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into that later.
What else you got for me tonight?
Well, another guy that's came back heavy with some buckets, DeMarcus Cousins. Boogie back, and the new death lineup has emerged from the Death Star that is the Oracle Arena. We talked about it before. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Kevin Durant, DeMarcus Cousins. In his first game against the Clippers on ESPN, he played 15 minutes. He wound up fouling out, but he scored 14 points. And a big thing here, biggest stat, is 3 of 4 from 3.
Yeah, the 3, he was hitting it. He was snapping the 3. I was loving on that.
That is a completely different dynamic. It adds another 3-point shooter and a guy who can handle the ball, who is adeptly skilled for his size. He's one of the 3 centers in the league that is incredibly skilled. It's a short list. It's Embiid, the Joker, and Cousins. I don't know who else would be on that list. So then you have again the other night against the Lakers, where he played 21 minutes, had 8 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 assists. And that was very important to me because Clay mentioned it after that win where, side note, Klay Thompson, barely breaking any sweat, had 44, 10 straight threes to begin to start his game, which is insane. It's nuts how every night. This is another side note because I just watch and marvel the league. Every night it feels like a new thing is happening, like a new stat, a new occurrence.
Just dropping buckets, yeah.
Somebody's just doing something statistically that has never been seen before. Oh, and by the way, that was That was their
What
8th
did
straight
Ben
dub.
get? 22, and 9. If they got 10, people would have been shaking in their shorts. I was pissed they didn't get the 10th.
Well, yeah. Thank you for mentioning Ben Simmons.
Always got to put a little stamp on it. Hashtag Ben Simmons.
Hashtag Benny Dimes. But Clay said in the interview on TNT is that DeMarcus Cousins is really going to fit in with them because he can handle the ball well for a big man, and he's a very underrated passer. That's why I needed to mention the 5 assists. Because
he keeps that ball moving. That's what the Klay Thompsons and the Steph Currys and the Kevin Durant's like. You know? That's what they benefit off. Those dudes are running around like animals trying to get open, and they'll find them, put it right in the spot they need to shoot. Bang.
How did you think Boogie looked so far? And this isn't best Boogie, by the way, obviously.
Well, I mean, I take him right now as like, all right, you're healthy, you can be on the court. You're not going to ask too much out of him, but what he's given you has been and has looked good. Good pick and roll. So happy with it. Well, catch me in April.
We'll catch him in April. But the thing that I'm happy about as an NBA fan, well, no, 2 things. I'm sad about that it's strongly confirmed that the Warriors are winning the title.
Strongly confirmed.
And the happy part is that we're going to get to watch these 5 guys develop in the next week and a half or so because the next 8 of their 9 games are on national television.
Wow. Dude, I literally wrote a comment about how the Sixers were televised this week and had a lot of television. They have 8 out of 9 games. That is insanity. Oh, my God.
Biggest draw in the league.
Throw up. I feel like I'm going to throw up hearing that. Oh.
Why, you don't want to see the Dubs kill?
I mean, I'll watch it. Don't get me wrong. But
they don't play the Sixers, so you're chilling.
Wow. Yeah, because I don't want to see us, bro. No, I'm playing. I play too much.
They definitely don't want to see us. Embiid talking shit to DeMarcus Cousins. That'd be a fun one. It'd be fun.
Tell me a team that could put up a good fight in the short term against the Warriors. Who you got? Anybody?
The Nuggets could. They're still up there. They're only a game and a half behind them in the standings as of right now. Mm-hmm. And that boy I mentioned earlier as one of the 3 in the same breath as DeMarcus Cousins, Nikola Jokic, the Joker, is raking up stats this season. This week he has 4,285 career points. 4,200. Yeah, that's right math. I mean that's the right number. And snatched 2,533 rebounds in his 3+ seasons with the franchise. He's about to catch Kenyon Martin. Salute to one of the most entertaining, underrated players in the past 10, 15 years, and one of the best Nuggets, definitely ever, at 4,553 points and 2,583 boards. And that was only in 7 years. I get the game has changed, and Jokic is more skilled than Kenyon Martin. That's pretty rapid amount of time in about half this season's to catch him.
The dude just gonna do it all, and they utilize him very well in the low post,
high post,
yeah, everywhere, and he can move. He
throws it.
Move it with his hands.
He throws it on a rope.
Yeah.
To quote Mark Zumoff, I love when he threw that one wizard, like it looked like a wizard pass when in Toronto he threw it right to the corner, wasn't even looking. Yeah, he is clean.
Yeah, Josh, he can do it all. But, my only problem with him is his face is just so ugly. I can't deal with it sometimes.
Well, he doesn't quite think so because you saw he was trying to pick up some digits from across the bench the other night.
Yeah, he was shooting the shot.
I mean, as he does. He scored in that game. He listed his 21st triple-double, the second most amongst 7-footers, as he had 19 points, 11 rebounds, 12 assists against the lowly Cleveland Cavaliers. And he's going to have to take at least 5, 6, 7, 8, I sound like LeBron in Miami, seasons to catch Wilt Chamberlain's record of 78.
For rookies, correct?
No, for 7-footers.
Oh, 7-footers. Oof. Shit, Ben's almost 7 foot, yo. Come on. Put some sneakers on. That brother's breaking 78.
You gotta put some stiletto sneakers on to be 7 foot, something like that.
Damn, 78. That's a good number though. Good for Jokic though. He's balling. He's a top 7 player in the league right now. You know, It's tough. It's really tough to say that, but I mean, like, I'm comfortable saying it right now. They're the second best team in the West. He's the best player on their team, so we have to give him some recognition. Yeah, and one of their best assets is actually how good they're playing on defense. You got any comment on that?
Well, I have a comment from Coach Mike Malone. He said,
Ooh.
This season we talked about being an improved defensive team, much improved from last year. Most notably, their 3-point defense from being last to being a top 5 3-point defensive team, which is a huge step, especially like what we talked about in wanting to challenge the Golden State Warriors at some point this summer or spring, which is huge. And then,
to win in this league, you need elite wing defenders because a lot of their team's best players are these small forwards, and it's tough to keep up with them sometimes. And that's just one facet of the game. If you have a bad guy on the other end, which we saw last year on the Sixers, our wing defenders weren't that hot. Besides Cove, obviously, but there's only one of him, and it can show. So kudos to their defense. Gary Harris, Jamal Murray, Will Barton.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, Will Barton and Gary Harris have missed a lot of time, so Monte Morris and Malik Beasley have really picked up the slack for the Denver Nuggets this season. I know
a
lot of people don't know who they are, but I just got to give them their recognition. Speaking of, now let me talk about someone a lot of people do know. Isaiah Thomas, one-time MVP finalist, hero in Boston Celtics lore, allegedly aiming for a February 11th return date. And Coach Mike Malone said, what about that, Don?
Don't believe everything that you hear, my friend. That's what he had to say. February 11th. You know, you don't hear that he's working. I didn't even hear that he was working out. Now he's going to be playing on February 11th. That's a little aggressive. You know?
Yeah. It's like trying to steal home when you haven't even batted yet.
Yeah. They're in the back seat. He's kissing that girl before the game started. He forgot his baseball cap at home. Come on, bro. Come on, February 11th. That's not a chance. Not a chance you see him in March either.
Trying to return before Valentine's Day without even practicing or training?
Yeah.
No. That's a no for me. Definitely a no.
Definitely a no.
Now, let's just move on to the Sixers because
dun.
Thanks for the sound effect. The biggest stretch of the season, of the regular season, has begun. As of today, January 22nd, the Sixers are 4-1 in those games, losing to only the Oklahoma City Thunder, as you mentioned. And Paul George did what to us?
Oof. You got to remind me? Hit a game-winning 3 on us. And then what? Did he get the foul on the N1?
He got the N1 shorts.
Oh. So then we went down, and Ben then decided to bring two defenders, to Jimmy Butler. Good looks, Ben.
Ooh, some Ben Simmons criticism.
Yeah, through and through, though. It was a good game. He was a little frustrating. You know, he actually put up some good numbers, but he had like 5 turnovers. Just a little note that we should recognize that if you want to beat some of these better elite defensive teams, you can't be turning the ball over, and that's been one of our downfalls. It has always been a Sixers downfall is our turnovers. If we limit them, then we are a strong team. But
yeah, that's definitely the case. The Sixers had 19 turnovers to the Thunder's 10. Granted, the Thunder are one of the best, probably the best defensive team in the league. But
yeah,
being a rising elite team like yourselves, the Sixers, you should not be turning the ball over 19 times. You will not win basketball games turning the ball over at that amount.
Yeah.
Also,
Ben needs to clean it up. That's a big part of it.
Also, they missed 9 free throws. It wouldn't have been that close of a score. They only lost by 2. They make 5 of them different game. That Paul George shot.
Who was missing their free throws like that? Was that Joel? Not
Joel missed 2 late in the third quarter, I believe, or early in the fourth, and then Ben missed a few, as Ben does.
Ben missed. Yeah, they fouled him, and he missed both of them, and then he came back in line and made both. Right, but he missed the first 2, which was frustrating when they initially started fouling him. So.
Yes, he did. But you can't say that was an incredible. We should have beat the Sixers. Should have beat the Thunder, but that was an incredible game. I tweeted.
Oh, it was a great game
on the Outlet Pass Podcast Twitter at @pass_podcast. Second shameless plug is that if a Sixers Thunder finals happens, it'll be a classic for sure.
Yeah,
they have, and there's a story to build upon this. You have the triple overtime game from last year. Then you have the game in Oklahoma City where Embiid dunks on Russ, and that continues the feud. And the feud has been continued even more in this game as Embiid chased down Russell Westbrook late in the fourth quarter, a pivotal layup that Russ was going for. But he fumbled the ball, and Embiid was anticipating a layup. And Embiid left his feet, try and block him, but then wound up kneeing Russell Westbrook in the elbow, shoulder area. And then it looked like he pushed him with his hands. And then Russ was chilling, seemed hurt, then got up and wanted all the smoke with Joel Embiid.
All the smoke. He didn't want that real smoke, though, did he? Like, Russ all for what? Come on. That was a little frustrating because Russ knew that he messed up by fumbling. And Joel tried to lay off him, but Joel was definitely coming for that block. And in that scenario, it was like, all right, well, Joel's either going to hurt himself by trying to feint off this, or he's going to, unfortunately, put some type of blow on Russ. And that's what he did. But Russ didn't play well. He was frustrated by him not playing well as well. He's always in his feelings, though.
It's funny that you echo Joel Embiid's sentiments, which was then evoked, by a reporter asked him, I was going for the block, and I think he lost the ball, but I was already in the air. I don't know why he was mad, but he's always in his feelings. So
always in his feelings, see? Then Joel thinking on that same tip.
And then Russell Westbrook was asked after the game if he is cool with Embiid, and he bluntly, explicitly said, fuck no. Which is,
Russ?
sounds like a man in his feelings.
In his feelings.
A man in a shiny coat in his feelings. And
playing with him.
I forgot to add more to the beef is when Embiid was waving goodbye to Steven Adams in the triple overtime game when he fouled out, and then after they won, he waved back to him.
Mm-hmm.
And then they asked him last year what he said to Embiid. He said, I told him to go home. And then Embiid responded, he told me to go home. I mean, this is my home, so I guess it's time for him to go home. They won the game. I give them a lot of credit. He did a lot of things, but the dude shot for 10 for 33. I wish I would have shot 33 times.
We got to get a W against them, though. 18 straight times, was it? That's frustrating.
Yeah, that was mentioned in the press conference afterwards. Joel Embiid was taking that game pretty personally. I love when players take games pretty personally. And
nobody in the NBA, though, bro, wants more smoke than Russell Westbrook.
I think he harbors. He is a live wire on the court. Emotionally, he plays with a lot of passion, which I respect and love.
Mm-hmm.
But in this one, he's in the wrong with the game that happened on Saturday. Maybe not in last year's started the beef. That's fine. Not when he blocked. Not when he tried to block your shot and then you fumbled the ball and then he was in the air. What was he gonna do? It's not a game. I mean, it's not fake life. Gravity. He's 7 foot.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna land on you. It wasn't intentional. But he's always been a hothead.
Always.
But that's just the way he plays. The game was important. I was talking about it afterwards with the people because I was at the game since I work in the arena. You can't even complain. Like, the only thing you can complain about is what we brought up is the turnovers and free throws. And you can complain about Jimmy Butler getting off to a horrendous start.
Horrible. The start of the game was horrible.
Yeah, until it really mattered. And he scored 8 points in the fourth quarter. He had some pretty big shots. And he barely missed that terrible look he got for three.
Mm-hmm. Tough first quarter really set us back, though.
Yeah.
Tough first quarter.
I was talking. It's January, and this is where it's going to make or break the season, as I stressed at the beginning of this conversation, because you're playing all good teams. Now all you can say is it's something to learn upon, because that's all you got to do.
We can build off. We can keep building. We have this good stretch of teams. Would you like to, maybe add some color on who they are?
Well, yeah. After beating the Rockets on Monday night on Martin Luther King Day, the Sixers' next 10 games. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 8 games are home against the Spurs, at the Nuggets, at the Lakers, at the Warriors, at the Kings, home against the Raptors, Nuggets, Lakers, and Boston. And 7 of those are on national television.
I would say beat that Warriors, but they actually are beating that. But still good for us. Still very good for us. Whole lot of love for the Sixers.
So out of those, wait, is it 10? I counted wrong. 9. 9 games are...
Oof, that's some good numbers right there.
So out of those 9 games, what do you expect the Sixers' record to be? So at this time, they're 4-1 in this tough stretch that we have been talking about. What would you like for them to go?
I think in the next 9 games, if we can grab 5 of those, I would be happy.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking 5 or 6.
5 or 6, but I'm going to say 5 still makes you happy. 6 makes you ecstatic. 2 Denver games, a Golden State game, 2 Lakers games, Toronto, and a Celtic game. There's going to be a little difficulty in there.
Well, I'll tell you the must-win games, in my opinion. They have to win at the Lakers. I think they have to beat the Lakers both times because they're depleted.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have to beat the Kings to avenge last year's loss in Sacramento, where it was that terrible last play where Embiid had to heave up a 3.
Yeah.
And have to beat Boston.
I would want to beat Boston with the current landscape of the playoffs.
And you could split with Denver.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Other than that,
last time we lost against the Spurs, we got murdered. So I don't want to chalk that one up, but I don't want that to happen again.
I would like, if they do lose, I would like to be highly competitive. But I would like for them to avenge that loss as well.
Facts.
And then the last game out of those ones, we got an easy night off. Well, what would be perceived as a night off is we play the Knicks. That leads us into the All-Star break.
Oh, that's lit. One of those. Shout out to Brendan. Let's get it, boy.
Yeah, shout out to Brendan. Don't know who you are, but I'm sorry you're a Knicks fan as of today.
Let's talk Hardaway.
Okay.
That's what he always says.
Let's talk. Well, he really that signing got scrutinized when it happened, maybe because of the years, or that's not who the fans wanted. But he hasn't been a terrible player. Yeah, he's playing very well for your standards.
Yeah,
but
for Knicks standards.
Yeah, for Knicks standards, which are very, very, very low. Now, trade deadline. It's coming up February 7th at 3 p.m. Now, I have a list of top names on this year's trade deadline ballot or block. That's the correct term. And we're going to go through them, and we're going to say who we think is going to get moved and possibly where. And if not, we're not going to answer, obviously, because they'll stay put. Bradley Beal of the Washington Wizards. Where do you think is he getting moved?
No.
I will concur.
I don't think so.
I just think it's too big of a contract, and the Wizards possibly still might want to try and compete for next year because they can't trade John Wall because they gave him an obese contract.
Hella money. Hella bread.
Hella money.
40 mil next year. Starting next year.
I think, side note, I think the Wizards situation is sort of like the Thunder situation now. Is that the more highly paid player, being John Wall, comparing him to Russell Westbrook, is not the best player on the team. I believe Bradley Beal, just like Paul George, is the best player on their team. Would you concur?
I unfortunately would have to interject and say, yes, he is the best player on the team, but he is the third highest paid player on the Wizards. Is that crazy? Otto Porter is second.
Yeah.
Otto Porter makes 26, and Bradley Beal is the best player on the team, even though he's third in pay.
Well, he makes 25. So.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but still same. Brad Beal can secure the bag and get more than 25. If John Wall getting 40.
Yeah, that's
just
insane.
saying.
Since we mentioned Otto Porter, he's next on the block. Is he getting moved?
Just the same thing. His contract isn't generous, so I don't think so.
I don't think so as well. Nikolai Vucevic of the Orlando Magic, is he getting moved?
I would love to see him get moved.
I concur. Do you have a place in mind?
I would love him to return to where he was drafted to, but I don't need to get all up in that action. But if the Pelicans are more competitive, maybe.
Well, I don't know if they're really going to be trying to move anybody. Sorry to interrupt, because it came out a few hours ago that Anthony Davis could be missing up to 2 to 4 weeks, which is crucial in the Western Conference. He's going to see a hand specialist. So
I don't know. Who were you thinking? Were you thinking somebody? Did you have anybody in mind?
Yeah, I think the Spurs would be a nice fit. You could give the Magic's maybe somebody like Bryn Forbes and a pick. I think that would be an interesting trade.
The contract's generous, It
is a solid mid-level NBA contract,
which makes it appealing. Who else we got? We got anybody else from the Magic? I think we got another guy, huh?
We got Terrence Ross. Where do you think you think he's getting traded?
Yeah, I think he's affordable for certain teams.
Yeah, 10.5 mil.
Yeah, I think that's good value for a player. I would see him get moved.
Where to?
Did he already play on Toronto?
Yeah, he was drafted by them.
He's going back.
Okay, that's interesting. I will stay in the Atlantic Division. I would love for him to get traded. I think he will get traded. I would love for him to get traded to the Sixers. They need a swingman off the bench who can create for himself a little bit, hit a catch and shoot three. He's one of the best in the league at that. And on the Toronto team of a few years ago, I believe I saw a stat that he was a part of one of the best defensive starting fives, even though his individual defense is not great. He was a part of that part of that five that was one of the best defensive fives in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
interesting.
Next is Kemba Walker of the Charlotte Hornets, making $12 million a year. Is he getting traded?
I don't think Michael Jordan's got the cojones for it.
Yeah, I don't think he's getting traded either. I think they want to keep their only attractive player in terms of how he equates wins to the team, because he does have and he's carrying them to have the Hornets in contention for a first-round exit, but to get back in the playoffs. I mean, and he's your guy, so I guess you got to keep him, because then it's not like they have hit well on draft picks besides him.
Yeah,
so
I think Bridges will be all right, but besides that, right? Yeah,
he's not going to. I mean, it's early, but he's not going to be anywhere close to Kemba.
Right.
Now you have.
Yeah, I think you got to keep him, sign him. Who else we got? We got anybody else?
Marc Gasol, $24 million he's making. of the Memphis Grizzlies. You think he's getting traded?
I don't know if the right suitor will come along, but if they can move enough pieces, you would have to make a move for Marc Gasol. He's still very talented. So, yes.
Do you have a team in mind?
Brooklyn Nets, stamp it. I'm crazy.
Okay. That's interesting. I could see Marc Gasol heading possibly to, let me think. Let me just look up teams real quick. Because I want to say the Spurs, but I don't want to use the same team twice. I can see him. His contract's too big to go out to Houston.
Yeah, Houston can't be dealing with that.
I mean, I could see the Lakers. That would be an interesting deal. And they're fine with eating money. Because they have all the money in the world.
Yeah, they can do whatever. Luxury tax don't matter.
Now, next one. Mike Conley of the Memphis Grizzlies making $25 million this year.
Because next year's money's way too much. No shot.
No shot
Sorry,
getting
Mike.
traded. Okay. I could see it. Spike Eskin, let's see, what's the word? Proposed an interesting idea to trade, somehow do a 3-team deal getting rid of Jimmy Butler, which brings us into a next one because these could coincide. Jimmy Butler makes $19.8 million this year and is due for a supermax that would cost $190 million, where Mike Conley comes to the Sixers and Jimmy Butler goes elsewhere, and Mike Conley would help benefit the team more than Jimmy Butler, who has been calling for the offense to be more centered around him. I don't see it happening. Just think it's an interesting trade.
I don't see where Mike Conley comes in and the Sixers are a better team. So Spike Eskin, sorry, bro, I'm not with that one. If you want to give me a better hot take, you tell me that we can move Jimmy Butler and Landry Shamet and move him to the Charlotte Hornets and we get Kemba Walker. Now let's talk about a trade that'll actually happen. But
either way, you can't give up 2 capable players because then the Sixers roster is depleted even more so. Correct. At this point.
Right, I understand that, but if you want to be shooting like you're doing those crazy fugazi ones you just gave me, Mike Conley, come on, bro, what is that? Jimmy Butler, disrespect.
All right, Kevin Love of the Cleveland Cavaliers, $24 million. Does he get traded? I'm gonna go no.
He's hurt. He's hurt, so no.
As we mentioned, talked about it at the top of the podcast a lot. Enes Kanter, $18.6 million. Does he get traded?
If somehow they finesse a draft pick, yes. If not, probably not.
I'm going to say yeah. I don't have a team in mind. But I'm going to say yeah.
It's like a late first-round pick is what you probably will get for him. But
and now this one goes...
Go back to Utah.
Yeah, could. Now the last one, Carmelo Anthony making $2.9 million. This one goes into our buy or sell segment that we introduced last podcast. You think he's getting traded?
Carmelo Anthony?
Yeah, because he just got traded to the Bulls and now he's going to get released.
He'll be signed by somewhere. I saw an interesting take where he'll go. I saw someone put the YMCA and I almost fell out of my chair. But he'll sign with a team. Somebody will want the first round playoff experience because that's all he makes. All right, I'm guessing.
The Carmelo Anthony super package of making the first round and losing.
Buy now. Subscribe. $79.95 a month. All right, let me hit you with the next buy or sell.
Yeah. Can
you buy or sell my boy Benny Simmons as an all-star starter this year?
I can buy it.
You can buy it.
I can buy it because the lineup would then be Ben Simmons playing the point guard, Kyrie Irving playing his more natural position at shooting guard, Kawhi Leonard at the 3, Giannis Antetokounmpo at the 4, and our one and only Joel Embiid at the 5. How about yourself?
I do like that. So you're telling me that would take out Kemba?
Yes, he's cooled off.
Somebody, yeah. I mean, yeah, that could make sense. Ben's been getting buckets right now. I see Ben's story on Instagram, and he's pushing to get on the All-Star team. I think he should be pushing to get a starter. I'm buying more into it. I can feel that. If Kemba starts cooling off like you're saying, I got to watch more of Kemba and see how he's doing. But Ben has that love-hate relationship with a lot of fans, so maybe he doesn't sneak into the starters. If he does, that'll be fire. But we'll see.
All right. Now the final question of buy or sell. Did Corey crack the code? Has Corey Brewer given players a blueprint on how to guard James Harden? Now, to just preface this, if you didn't watch the game, Corey Brewer, James Harden still got his 37 points, of course. But Corey Brewer made life existentially hard for James Harden, which I think he tried to annoy him. He clearly did, because James Harden was pushing and nudging him many times because he's not used to people guarding him 94 feet. So I'm buying that Corey Brewer has given players and teams a blueprint on how to guard James Harden.
You just got to nag somebody that doesn't like to get his panties in a bunch. James Harden literally looked bothered. Corey Brewer was sticking his whole body, his head into him, and it was like comedy, but it just worked because it was something that just made Harden so uncomfortable. Of course, he dropped 37, but he's bothered doing it, and it works.
Yeah, he did exactly what the game plan should be against the Houston Rockets. Allow James Harden to get his, and
allow him to get his and nobody else.
Yeah, if the team can't beat
nobody
you,
else doesn't.
You're fine. You know, and maybe me buying it is me trapped in Corey Brewer becoming a folk hero in Philadelphia, but
love it.
I'm guilty. Sorry, guilty as charged. You have anything else for the people, Dante?
He will get signed this week for the rest of the year. Correct? He was on a 10-weeker. He should get
10-day.
He should the 10-day. I'm sorry, 10-day. He should get his respect on his name. Which is Corey Brewer. Next game, let's get it. We'll chat. I want to say one last thing. We are doing this podcast early because it is me and Kiara's 3-year anniversary. Just wanted to recognize that. I'm sitting with her now while I record this podcast. I'm happy with my best friend for the past 3 years. That's all I got.
How nice. Congratulations to you guys. I'll definitely be in contact. And
what are you doing?
She's yelling at me and I'm putting her on blast.
Oh my god. It's weird.
That's weird. Well, congratulations, even though it's 3 days early, and appreciate the support. Now, with that being said, let me just plug some shit. You can follow the Outlet Pass Podcast on Instagram, the Outlet Pass Podcast, on Twitter at @pass_podcast, on SoundCloud, the Outlet Pass Podcast, on Apple Podcasts, the Outlet Pass Podcast, Spotify, the Outlet Pass Podcast, YouTube, Justin DiVirgilio. Make sure on Spotify you save us as one of your podcasts. SoundCloud, follow, like, repost, share on social medias. Tell a friend to tell a friend. On Apple Podcasts, subscribe, download, rate, review. And YouTube, subscribe and hit the thumbs up button. That's pretty much it. I thank you guys for listening. As always, it's great talking to you, Don, about ball. It's something I love so much, and I know you love it. And with that being said, the ball was our opinions, and we're passing it out to you. Peace.